Tell you what, winter is not over yet. This is the worst part of spring to me because it's just, we get these days that are 70 degrees and the wind or the sun's shining. It's just a gorgeous, beautiful day. And then we get a week of this rainy, gloomy, kind of cold, lower 40s, mid 40s kind of weather. It's just, that back and forth is just frustrating. You just can't wait for spring. But it is like this every year, so I guess just got to deal with it.
On the road again, like we're leaving with the wind off the coast of Carolina, caught smiling in the mirror. We hold out for tomorrow, swimming deepest rivers, giving then we borrow. But everyone's a winner, things are looking up, but we'll never touch the ground. I'm better than I've been as long as I got you around. The lives they open up when you let go of the doubt, when you're rolling deep to deep, when you're captive to the sound of honey, don't you let go of me. Honey, this love is wild and free.
Well, it's still pretty early spring, and like I said, a little chilly out today. We got a couple of chilly days going, but I'm going to go ahead and get these, what is this, broccoli and cabbage planted. I've got some row cover I'm going to put over the top of it that'll help protect it in case we get a little bit of a frost. May not do such a good job if we get a hard freeze. I'm just going to count on the fact that, you know, or the hope I should say, that we're not going to get a hard freeze between now and, you know, our last frost date, which is really still about a month away, April 15th. But that's our average last frost date anyway. I mean, we can get frost past that, but I'm going to try it anyway and see. I've never had real good luck growing broccoli. I've done cabbage before and done pretty decent with it, but broccoli has always been a little bit difficult for me. And I think it's because I end up planting it too late. So I'm going to try to get it in really early this year, put the row covers over it, hopefully protect it from some frost, more importantly, protect it from the cabbage bugs and, you know, those kinds of things. So we'll see how that goes. So I'm going to start off with this broccoli here, and I've just got holes 18 inches apart on this weed fabric, and that's where I'm going to plant it, 18 inches apart. And then we'll do cabbage down the other side, and I'll leave a little bit of room for some Brussels sprouts whenever they get ready to be transplanted. Pretty simple. It's kind of muddy out today. It's been rainy, really, really rainy, so I put some gloves on to, you know, kind of keep my hands a little bit cleaner. But it's actually not so bad. I think I'm going to be able to get working the dirt a little bit here. Feels good to get out here and do this. We don't get to, not very often in mid-March do I get to get out and actually play in the dirt. All right, there's one down, several more to go.
Cadence of your voice, all the unexpected joys, elevating off your smile, laughing with me like a child. Every minute is a light, showing us there's more to life. Open hands, arms open wide, choosing to enjoy the ride. Things are looking up, but we'll never touch the ground. I'm better than I've been as long as I got you around. Our lives they open up when you let go of the doubt, when you're rolling deep to deep, when you're captive to the sound of honey, don't you let go of me. Honey, this love is wild and free.
Well, I made two mistakes. First one, I didn't have the camera recording when I thought I had it recording, so you didn't get to see me putting all this row cover up, but that's okay. I'll show you, I figured it out before I got it completely done, so I'll show you kind of how I'm doing that. The second mistake I made was I bought this row cover at a local hardware store, didn't pay much attention to it, didn't realize it's only 5 foot wide. So it's not really a big enough row cover for me, not for the 2 rows. I planned on using some PVC pipe, driving some rebar into the ground like I've used for hoop houses in the past. I've got a whole bunch of it back there, but it's not wide enough for that PVC pipe. So I had to come up with some other kind of hoops to use. It's a little bit small. It's fine for the plants right now, but it's not going to be big enough for them to be able to grow in. So I can use it for a while, and I will, and then I'll get a bigger row cover and come back and put in the bigger hoops later on. It'll probably be, when I'm done, it'll be a couple feet tall, about like this, and a little bit wider. It'll span the width of this bed, which is about 4 foot. So we'll see how that goes whenever that comes time to do that. But in the meantime, this is the hoops, or the row cover I've got up. I've got some hoops underneath there that I just kind of had to come up with something pretty quick. So I took some old cheap tomato cages, cut the, the cage off them, basically just used the up and down wires from those to make my hoops for this row cover here. What I've got is one every about 4 foot. I put the row cover over it, put a garden staple in the ground right there at the hoop itself. And again, at the end, and I'll show you on this end here how I'm going to do that. I'll peel it up so you can see it, and I'll bring you in real close. But that's it for this. This should do a pretty good job of keeping these plants protected from bugs and things like that. Hopefully keeps them protected from the frost that's coming. I know we've got one day that's going to get down to about 30 degrees at night, but that's not really that cold, and it's only going to be there for a short time. It's going to be like 50 degrees the day before, and then I think 60 degrees the next day. So it's not going to be a prolonged freeze or a hard freeze or anything like that. And I think they'll do just fine in that. If not, I lose them, and I'll have to start all over again with them, but not a huge loss. Let me bring you in a little bit closer here, show you what I've got going on with these tunnels, how I've got them built. All right, so what we've got is the end of the tunnel here. I've got it just clamped on down here at the base, but let me take that clamp off and peel this row cover up a little bit. We'll show you kind of what it looks like here. So this is it. This is what I've got. So this is that tomato cage wire. I just bent it over, pulled the row cover over it, and then I gotta do this one-handed because I gotta hold the camera. Sorry about the camera shake. And then I'll show you how I'm gonna fix it on the ends. I put some, like I said, I put staples where all the posts are all the way down to kind of hold it in place. But here's a view down the middle of it. You can see maybe all the way down there. Well, there we go. Maybe you can see all the way down there. That's kind of how it looks in the inside. Let me back this camera up a little bit, and we'll show you try to get a tripod in here to hold the camera for me while I staple this down, so hopefully you can see it. I think we're in camera now. I can't see the screen, so just gonna have to go with it, and hopefully I am. So this isn't actually that hard. What I did was I just kind of pulled it tight on the end, like that, bunched all this up, twisted it around a couple of times, and then just put a garden staple in the end here to hold it in place so it doesn't come up. There we go. And I put a couple of clamps on the side here. Where's my other clamp? That way I can get into this easy access from this side when I need to. So that's it. It's in place. Well, we'll see how well this does. This garden fabric stuff's pretty cheap. I think I paid $10 for this whole roll of it at the local hardware store. It was the only one they had. If they'd have had more, I probably would have paid more attention, got a bigger one, but they only had one. So I'll have to order online probably to get a bigger one, but I'm gonna give these guys just a little while, make sure they're gonna make it, planting them this early first. They're good for probably another month at least under this row cover before they start getting pretty good size, and I'll need to upgrade to something bigger. But that's a pretty easy thing. I've got everything else I need to build the hoops for another row cover. I just need a bigger row cover to do it. So I've got a little bit of wind kicking up now, and it seems to be holding in place. I'm optimistic this is going to work out. We'll have to see. Just to give you an update on the tomatoes, let me turn the camera so you can see those. Okay, just to give you an update on these, the tomatoes I've got winter sowing. Nothing has sprouted yet, I don't think. I'm looking down in there, it's kind of hard to tell, but no, I don't see anything. I don't think anything's sprouted in here yet. It's been pretty chilly the last couple of days, so hopefully in the next couple of days, I got tomatoes sprouting inside, and the ones I started on in trays inside. hopefully in the next week or two, these will start sprouting and start growing, and they'll make it, and we'll see how that goes. This may have just been a complete waste. I don't know. We'll see. But if you haven't seen that previous video, these are just milk jugs that I cut the bottom out of, planted a seed, stapled them down to the ground so they wouldn't flow away. So basically I've got little mini greenhouses here with tomato seeds planted in the ground to see if they'll start up and get going in time to get a decent harvest out of them. But I've got tomatoes started inside as well. So if these don't make it, I've got backups to be able to plant in the ground. We'll see which ones do better. So I'll keep you guys updated on that as the season progresses. But that's about it. Very gloomy, kind of early spring day. Just not much sunshine out today. A little bit on the chilly side. It's been rainy. It's going to rain for the next like 4 days. So I figured it was a good time to go ahead and get those plants in the ground before I had just a mud, big pile of mud out here to work in. And, we'll see how they do anyway. So thanks for watching, guys. Thanks for coming along with me on this day. As always, God bless.